Hello, audience. Welcome to the Monke Funk podcast. It's time to get monkey funky. I am tonight's host, Devan, or Draven Slade, and I'll pass it on to Austin.
Hello, I'm Austin, aka Fancy Brain, and I just like games. I just work here. It's all chill. But yeah, I'll pass it on to Joey next.
Well, I'm Joey, the red coat disease, and I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. A
Just a
small little
little
guy.
guy. Just a little guy.
I
Just
am
a
the
little
shortest
dude.
out of the four, so
Nothing wrong with that.
I
Nothing wrong
mean,
with
when
that.
everybody else is over 6 feet tall,
yeah,
you're
it's
basically
like
the Markiplier of the group.
I look short, but I'm like average U.S. height or something.
You're just
Exactly.
average with giants around you. So
Uh,
True. I never really realized that before. I think I have. I just hadn't thought about it lately. But yeah, I'm a
I'm
god because we're
uh,
all at least 6 feet, except you, Joey, right?
yeah. I'm like normally the shortest but oldest in my friend groups.
Yeah. Well, I think
It's been that
that's
way for since like pre-K or something.
Sure. That's almost the case here because I believe Chance is the oldest out of all of us,
well,
if I'm
Yeah,
he's
remembering correctly.
oldest by a few years. If you exclude
yeah.
that, it
It checks out, yeah.
of the
True.
people that were born the same year as us, Joey
Uh,
does outrank us.
well, I knew
Yeah,
both of you before showed up.
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
that's true. He's got the lore. He's been around,
Glad Chance is here.
right?
His
Yeah.
Well,
spirit.
gentlemen, how you been? How we been doing? What's
Oh,
what's new? What's the latest and greatest?
I took an entire week off of work for Elden Ring.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm not gonna knock it.
Yeah.
I would do something like that. If I wasn't in high school when all of those WoW expansions dropped, I would have done the same shit.
Oh,
Instead,
yeah.
I was just a shit and I skipped school. so, so
Stay in school, kids. You get
Yeah.
big bucks like I do.
that's right. That's right.
Or
Yep,
you get stuck working at a retail service job like I do.
truly,
Either
truly.
or.
Oof. Yeah,
Well,
no, today was my first day back at work and I should quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
the old
Yeah.
9 to 5 just ain't doing it for you, bud.
It's not a 9 to 5, it's a noon to 8, which is arguably worse. It's like that's the prime time of the day that I'm missing out on.
Good point. It's a good
Dang,
point.
man,
And
I'm
it's in
sorry.
retail, and you're just like, ugh.
Oof.
I feel for you. I feel for
Ugh.
you. That's crazy. Well, I will ask you though, because I have been genuinely curious. How have you been enjoying the Elden Ring DLC? Good lord,
Oh,
there it is.
it's fantastic. I've died. If I was keeping track of how many times I died, it'd definitely be triple digits in just the DLC because I'm irresponsible and reckless.
At
But
least twice.
it's at least twice.
At least twice. At
Oh,
least two.
What about the other direction? What's your body count at?
uh, what do you mean by that?
How many bosses have you gotten? Let's go with that.
Oh,
The video game one.
oh, okay. At least two.
Understandable.
Nice.
I don't know. I haven't been counting. I've just been swinging my big swords.
I mean,
That's
you got the medieval equivalent of the big iron on your hip, so I respect it.
I actually respect slightly.
Oh,
Yeah. Because I
very.
was using a great sword, and then they dropped great katanas, which are just great sword katanas, and I was like, gotta dual wield those. I don't make the rules.
It's
great
just
katanas. So, are they really
Great.
long or are they gigantic?
They're yeah.
Are we talking like Sephiroth or Cloud?
Uh, half
Somewhere in
halfway
between?
between.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're like
gotcha.
just imagine a great sword, but it's shaped like a katana.
Huh.
Okay, I can kind of picture it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see it now. Okay. Dang, that's cool,
Interesting.
man.
Mm.
That is cool. That is cool. I like that. Well, what about you, Austin? What's going on in your world?
Well, I'd say I wish I had the dedication to take off a week of work for a game, but, bills gotta get paid.
But your job actually gives you a decent amount of money.
Yeah, it does now. It wasn't like that like
Oof,
2 years ago, but we've
oof.
come
Yeah.
pretty far. I have been pretty dedicated to a game. I have finally finished my journey of getting all PlayStation Network trophies for the Kingdom Hearts franchise as of
Oh,
right now, 2024. We'll see if that changes in a few years when the next game comes out. But oh, it was grueling, it was hard, but I loved every second of it.
well, now you got to get them
That's
all for Steam.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
Um,
Got to get all the
That's how it
mods
go.
put on there. Get the Yu-Gi-Oh mod.
Right, right. But it's the journey. That's the important part. I think so many people play video games as kind of like they're trying to get to the end, but I don't know. Sometimes it's the journey for me. So even though
Absolutely.
it's hard and frustrating and you just feel like quitting sometimes, that's like I would argue that's just a part of the experience.
Well,
So
circling back to my opening statement, it's dedication. This is a series that I have loved basically my entire life. The first game came out when I was like 4 years old, I think. I have literally grown with it. It's near and dear to my heart. I wanted to prove I am the Kingdom Hearts master, and I know there are plenty of people out there that are way, way better than me at all of the games. They have they have this franchise down to a science, but I know my way around a Keyblade. I can say that much.
not
So,
not to like go off on a slight tangent. Have you seen that guy who's like staying on what is it, Paradise Island or whatever, and trying to get to level 100 without leaving?
oh yes, Destiny Island. Yes, that
Oh,
that guy was like a while back, and yeah,
yeah,
you you
that was months
technically
ago.
can do it, and I I do not envy that man. More power to
Oh,
you. Great. Not for me.
I think you should do it.
No, I it would take me about as long as it has taken me to get the trophies for all the games. And mind you, I started this journey like in 2022, maybe late 21.
Jeez.
It was a while.
yeah, yeah, that's wild. I never understood. Now, not to say like I disagree with it. I think that's a cool thing to take on if you're into that. But I
Oh
never
yeah.
understood the people who were able to like do that kind of thing. Like I think for example in WoW there's a time where you actually could get an achievement for it was called pacifist, and it was literally getting to level cap without killing a single thing. And I think the only way you could do it was obviously quests that didn't involve killing anything, and then also I think this was during a time where I think you could get experience by like collecting resources. So like you could pick herbs and you could like mine like copper and whatever, and you'd get experience out of that. And so you could like in theory literally just get to level cap without killing anything, just farming things, mining things, and doing quests that didn't involve killing anything, and you got like a pacifist like achievement. And I don't
Oh.
know. I think there's been somebody who's done it, but like needless to say, not very many people did that.
What do
You
you
know.
mean? It
God.
sounds
So
enthralling.
I mean, it's crazy.
Harken it back to it's not pacifist, but harken it back to the episode of South Park with where they play WoW, and they're having to grind on like the most like minuscule enemies. They're like pigs or something or boars. I can't quite remember, but
Uh,
Yeah,
they're
I think
trying
it's
to level
boards.
just to have a chance against the big noob master guy or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, no, that's definitely something that I hold near and dear to my heart. That
That's like one of my
episode, like
favorite episodes of South Park. Like
it's
there's
oh
quite a
mine
few
too.
doozies in there, but like
It's mine too.
and I don't even play WoW. I'm just like this is actually really funny.
Well, that's the ironic thing, right? Is because like I've played WoW since it came out, right? And in many ways, that episode was meant to be kind of a diss, kind of a hit on WoW. But I didn't really. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was really funny and really creative the way that they went about that episode.
I'd need
So.
to check my knowledge and sources on this, but I'm pretty sure Trey Parker and Matt Smith are fans of WoW and Blizzard, but don't quote me on that.
Sure.
I would not be surprised, honestly.
There's actually a lot of content, not content creators, but just show creators, comedy creators, and even just celebrities that actually enjoy WoW.
Henry
Just to
Cavill comes to
name one.
mind.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
just about to say that. Yep, Henry Cavill. Yeah, I think I don't remember the exact. I might be misremembering this, so apologies if I kind of say something that's not 100% true here. But I think it was something along the lines of he originally missed his first call to his agent or whoever was calling him to let him know that he got the role of Superman, but he
Yeah.
missed the first call because he was in a raid in WoW.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is just supreme Chad energy, like
Hey,
I don't know. You can't even knock him for that, or I can't personally. And that's insane. So
we love our
uh,
gamers and we love
we
the
do,
achievements they get to.
we do. All right, fellas, just to
Yeah.
keep on track, I guess I'll go ahead and introduce today's topic. So, tonight's topic we're talking about is our favorite music soundtrack, or rather, video game soundtrack. This is one that I thought up. This is the topic I decided would be interesting to discuss and talk about. Um, and I think instead of starting with myself, I'd be really interested to hear at least, either from either one of you first, just to kind of share the love here. So, Austin, I think you're a little bit more prepared here, so I'll kind of swing it to you. And I know you've got a lot to talk about for your topic. So,
I mean, the last couple episodes we've had our topics, and I always come out with Kingdom Hearts. This is no
You,
exception.
you know what you like.
That- Look,
hey, that's all right, man. That's all right.
I will keep it brief because I've got other games in mind as well. But like, you cannot talk about video game music without talking about this series. I mean, it's Disney, it's whimsical. There's a reason why their orchestra went on a world tour to do, different orchestrations from different games, right? And I was playing through Melody of Memory, another good example of why this music is so long lasting. There was a whole game dedicated to just the music in a rhythm game. And, I played through the game and I was just instantly transported back to like my playthroughs of all of the games. And so there's just a whimsy to it, there's a nostalgia to it. A lot of the tracks just slap, especially the battle tracks, like oh, the Mulan world comes to mind with their battle track, because each world has at least two tracks where it's like one's you're just exploring, and then the other is actual battle music. So like, there's just so much variety. It has that Disney magic that I can't quite explain. It's also made by Square Enix, who very historically they do really well with their music and their games. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy comes to mind as well. So
Mhm.
I'll keep it brief there. Do I have any questions from the crowd?
No, that was good, man. I actually
Yeah.
do have a question because you talked about how you liked the music because it was whimsical and it was, the
Yeah.
combat music was nice, and you beautifully described the music. My question is, how do you think, because I am also actually a fan of the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack as well. Not maybe one specific Kingdom Hearts game, but just the entire series. I think the music is excellent, and I'm not even the
Absolutely.
biggest like fan of Kingdom Hearts. Not to say that I don't like it. I do. I just haven't played it as much. But regardless, my question is, what do you think it is about the Kingdom Hearts music that separates it from, say, other games soundtracks? What do you think makes it different and unique?
Well, harkening back to our earlier episodes, I think the music plays a very integral part in the immersion of
Mhm.
getting you into these different worlds. Because you got to remember, Kingdom Hearts doesn't take place in one world, it takes place in many worlds that are all different Disney worlds. And so the orchestrations, a lot of them are just ripping off the Disney movies, which, like, great. good source to pull from, you know. But then there
Mhm.
are others that they have to make their own original score for, because like how are you going to make a battle track for Alice in Wonderland? Well, they did it. You
Yeah.
know, I would
Yeah.
say like the music is really good at matching the worlds that they come from, both the battle tracks and the chill tracks, I'll call them. Um, they're very distinct. They give you that immersion. Um, God, what was the other thing I was gonna say? I lost it. But the fact of the matter is, I think their big draw is just giving you that immersion, really just setting the world building that we talk about. It harkens back to what makes games fun. You know, I feel like without the music, you know, you'd just be standing there in silence. You know, with your
Agreed.
games. So like, it's such a crucial piece that people often miss. And I think with Kingdom Hearts, it's just you gotta nail the feel of the songs for each different world is probably what it would come down to.
Hmm. Yeah, man. It all goes back to immersion.
Yeah,
You
Version is
know?
like key for any game.
Agreed. Agreed. But yeah, no, I totally get what you mean, and I like what you said about how, how you have different areas and different worlds, right? And so obviously, one song piece or piece of music can't necessarily, not that it can't, but you know, it shouldn't sound like another in terms of worlds, right? Because then, your music gets stale, it gets rigid, there's not a lot of variety, right? And so it's kind of bleh. But
yeah.
with Kingdom Hearts, you have so much variety and so much just different tones and different types almost of music that
So many
it
different
feels,
styles. Like
yeah, yeah.
I mentioned Alice in Wonderland, but like there's also Tarzan, so like it's a bit more jungle beat, you know.
Mhm, mhm.
There's an Aladdin world, so like it's a lot more Moroccan, Middle Eastern, you know, those roots that they pull from Aladdin as well. So like you're seeing a lot of culture in these songs too. I will say,
Yes.
it was the Tokyo Olympics that were in 2020, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. I saw it secondhand. There were plenty of gamers around the globe that saw this. But when I forget who it was. I think it was when Japan entered in their opening ceremony. Their song that they had playing like on the broadcast, it was from Kingdom Hearts. It was the Olympus Coliseum song from Hercules, right, in that world. And so the gamers of Japan were walking into an actual Coliseum anthem from a
Oh
video
my
game
God.
series, and I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh man. See, I would just cry if
I
I
Uh,
was in
If
person
I had
there, you
seen
know?
it live, I would have cried.
I mean, it's no joke. I'm a grown ass man, and I would have started bawling if I heard like my favorite like soundtrack being played in such a monumental event.
yeah.
It
That's
feels like it too. If you ever look up Olympus Coliseum from Kingdom Hearts and their overworld tracks. It it matches so well a moment like that. So
see, that's incredible. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm glad you talked about that because I'm gonna have to check that out. That is legit something that I think I'm gonna watch after we wrap up podcast tonight. But yeah, that's amazing.
what about you, Joester Toaster?
Oh,
I
I batted around a few ideas in the past 20 minutes. I think I'm gonna settle for something a little left field. I'm gonna go with Minecraft.
Nice. That's
Oh,
no, I like it. I
There-
like it.
I wouldn't even say it's left field. Like I've heard it in seeing recordings of Minecraft on YouTube, and yeah, it's very zen, very chill. It harkens
and
back to that hangout ability, like Chance was saying a while back. So yeah,
Hmm.
I get that.
it's not only like it's a fantastic soundtrack. Who is it? C148 or whatever. Uh, Beautiful music. There's just something that enhances the world about the fact that the music's not always playing.
Oh yeah.
Just every 10 or so minutes you're playing, it'll play a little ditty. Or you can set it for different intervals, different frequencies, depending on what you want. It's just always there's always something that just fades in and fades back out.
I will.
I really like it because, like, Minecraft, I don't want to say it's an empty world because it's not, but, like,
Uh,
the world is what you make it
it's
to be. And I feel like the music really supports that, especially with it being so
uh,
stagnant and quiet.
and
Mhm.
honestly, the final two I was batting back and forth between was this and Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I
No,
have
yeah,
Zelda on
For
my list, dude. Any Zelda
I did.
game.
You
and
did.
and they were both for much the same reason. It's an empty sandbox, wide open world, and
Mhm.
just the lack of music while exploring enhances that. And you get like little jingles, little short ditties, little bouts of music every so often, but
Mhm.
for the most part, it's you're just out experiencing the ambiance.
Yeah, I will go as far to say, and people could probably agree or disagree with me on this, but honestly, when it comes to Minecraft, I think with a game like that, not to kind of put it on a scale or a measuring system that is could be kind of seen as trivial, but in a way, I almost believe that without the soundtrack and the audio bits and audio cues and what have you in the game, honestly, I would go as far to say that 50% of the ambiance and the immersion, like we've been speaking about, is just gone.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to play Minecraft on mute, personally, I would just
Go
I would
insane.
I would feel like I would be missing so much.
You die to every creeper.
Well, not to mention that too, right? Constant, just I'm dying to creepers and zombies and skeletons and what have you. But I mean, yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one who is out there that has said that I've literally to fall asleep. I've sometimes put on Minecraft music just as a relaxing, just almost nostalgic way to kind of transition my into transition into sleep, right? And it's just a very very well done piece of music.
It's a vibe.
The whole soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean, it's
I
a
also,
vibe.
I also like how it has music discs. So if you want
Mm.
to like play music in the game, you can just pump a disc into the Joy box, jukebox. Jeez, maybe I shouldn't have taken that extra shot. Let's take another.
Oh, whoa. What kind of
Oh,
boxes you got over there?
ooh, no, but yeah,
He's getting monkey drunk.
woo, you know it. If y'all haven't listened to Pig Step, I highly recommend doing that after the podcast.
Oh, I feel like someone sent me this one
Oh,
time.
Pig Step is Pig Step is not by the original person. I don't remember who wrote it. Somebody who is also they're doing all the Minecraft music lately, but
My tabs
uh,
are slowly filling up right now with things to watch after the podcast. This is great.
Lina Rain. Yes, Big Step,
Nice.
top tier.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I had. If I was gonna go with something a little more traditional and just like overall soundtrack all the time, probably Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Oh yeah,
Oof.
that's a good one. That's a
The
good one.
the Mulgara boss battle.
Right.
That thing just lives in my head.
Agreed.
Oof.
Joey, I'm surprised you didn't say Sonic the Hedgehog. Crush 40?
I've heard Crush 40 more often on my playlist than from the video games. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you started with saying I'm gonna go a little left of center, I thought, oh, here comes the Sonic, right? And then yeah, you totally just threw us for a
yeah.
loop and said Minecraft, which I love, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna. I think that's a great option, and I think anybody would be crazy not to include Minecraft
I know.
soundtrack
Yeah.
in their like top 10, for example, of music soundtracks. But yeah, I straight up thought you were gonna roll with Sonic, so I was
So,
pleasantly surprised and unsatisfied, but satisfied at the same time. No,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
there are so
Oh,
many games in that franchise, and they have mixed levels of quality.
what,
But
Sonic the Hedgehog?
yeah, but
Yeah, no, soundtracks are
consistently,
banger.
consistently, the soundtracks slap with that
Yeah.
series.
True, true,
Oof.
so true.
Well, Devin,
All
you're
right.
you're the only one left,
Yep. Sounds like I got to start talking about my pick. So
and don't feel like you gotta fill 30 minutes because
Yeah.
I've got a couple more here. We need to
sure,
get more
sure,
time.
sure. Well, hopefully, my thing is I hope I can get another 30. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be fine. Um, so actually, I'm really glad you guys talked about Legend of Zelda because that's a perfect segue as to which one I'm going to pick. First and foremost, let me just put a disclaimer out there. I think that every Legend of Zelda game soundtrack is excellent. Okay, so one of my, you know, difficult decisions I had to make when I was creating this topic and when I was thinking about which game I was going to pick was literally picking which Legend of Zelda was going to be the game that I selected as far as the soundtrack was concerned,
I mean,
right?
so many of them have the same songs, just different styles. So,
Exactly,
and some of them have a lot of
exactly.
unique ones too.
So it was hard for me because I was like, well, do I just go out of the way and just say the whole entire series, which, is really close to what I almost did, but I think just to stay true to the actual video game, the individual soundtrack, I'm gonna roll with you, Austin. I am once again going to pick one of the games that I've talked about already, and I'm just gonna have to come out and say Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess again.
Hey man,
Hell
Um,
yeah.
nothing wrong with that. That's the next game I've got to play. I have it on my GameCube. I just need to sit down and do it. But from what
well,
I've
I
heard, that game is so just beautiful, and I can only imagine what the soundtrack is like.
What you know
I
about the Malomart theme?
oh, dude, the
Oh
Malomart theme.
boy.
But I can't tell you how excited I am for you to start that, by the way, because it's going to. I don't know. I think you're going to have a great time. I love that game, and I can't go ahead without admitting that there's a big nostalgic factor that kind of plays in plays a role in my selection here, right? But it's got to be hands down my favorite video game soundtrack. I'll talk about that later. I was about to say what it almost tied with, but that actually is something I can talk about later just to help fill in the time. But so I guess a few notes about why I think Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess is my favorite video game soundtrack. You guys kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I think the music really accents and enhances the game with both crescendos and calm parts of the game itself, right? I know this is typical of video game music in general, but I really do like the fact that the music ramps up during really intense parts of the game, like boss fights, combat, things of that nature, right? And then it also slows down and gets a little bit more. Um, I wouldn't say intense because that kind of suggests that it's like there's a lot going on, but it's almost
It's
Dramatic?
got
kind
a
of lost.
weight.
It's
A weight.
dramatic. There,
Yeah.
that's a good word to describe it. It's dramatic during times when it is supposed to be dramatic. It's supposed to be like it's almost like in a metaphysical sense you're zooming in on a particular part of the video game. The music almost assists you with um, that moment, right? Of oh shit, this is a serious thing that's going on. Let me sit here and really pay attention because this is a very significant part of the game. So I think that in general they did really really well in the Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. I also am a big fan of for those of you who have played Twilight Princess and are familiar with the game. I love how and I sorry for a little bit of spoilers here, Austin. This isn't like incredibly spoiler,
Eh,
but
I'll get there
it's
eventually, or I'll
I was
forget.
gonna say it's gonna
Uh,
be common, but As Wolf Link, when you go to the Howling Stones and you do the songs, I
Yeah.
love the fact that those Wolf songs are throwbacks to previous Legend of Zelda games. It's
Yeah.
literally those songs are part of the songs. They are the songs that were played in previous Zelda
Right.
games, but in the tone of wolf howls, right? Which is really hard to describe and really weird
Yeah.
on initial, um, when you're
Right.
hearing it initially, right? But it's just so cool.
That's honestly something that Legend of Zelda does an incredible job with. Is
Mm-hmm.
just all the musical callbacks and all the renditions. In Twilight Princess, did you know that Midna's Lament is just the Hyrule Field theme slowed down and in a
Slowed
minor
down.
key? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought it
yeah.
was Zelda's
That's good.
Lullaby, but yeah, I knew it was a
Nah.
song backwards. As soon as you started saying that, I'm
Eh.
like, oh yeah, I saw TikTok about
Oh
that.
no, that's a Song of Healing. I think is Zelda's
Song of
Lullaby
I think
backwards
it's
or
yeah, I think
something.
it's Song of Healing or
But
something that's
the fact that we
backwards.
can even be like, I think it's this, because there are so many of those
Right.
Right.
in the series.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, and the Legend of Zelda series it's a series that is the music is so integral to the game,
Yeah.
or the series of games rather. It's
Especially when
not
you.
you
Sorry.
know no, you're good. I was just gonna say it's not some arbitrary kind of insignificant thing. I not to suggest that the music in other video games is insignificant, but it may not be as centralized in the series or in the game, right? You can play a certain video game and be like, this, the music's nice, it does its job, but it doesn't really exceed anything past that standard. But with Legend of Zelda, I think it's just such an integral pillar of the game that, like Minecraft, if you were to play these games without the music, it would just be devastating to the quality of the game.
Playing Ocarina of Time without the music. What's even the point?
What
What's the
kind of
point,
monster
right?
does that?
Well, and I'm sure
Load.
that goes the same with Kingdom Hearts, right? I
Absolutely.
mean, you know what I
Well,
mean?
I was going for you literally have to play a musical instrument as a game mechanic, but
Exactly.
Yeah,
uh,
Right.
fucking Guitar Hero over here. That's a game with a good soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
It's the whole
I should have said
Right.
that. That would have been hilarious. Dang.
Play Guitar Hero
For
on
real.
mute. See how you do.
That actually would be hilarious.
Uh,
Oh my god.
just say Beatles rock band and just talk about the Beatles for an hour.
Oh Jesus.
Oh.
Guitar Hero without the music, you're just hitting buttons at the same time or it's a timing game. That's it.
Literally.
Jeez.
So
But anyways, sorry, I was
no, you're good. You're good.
No,
I
you're
want you to
good.
finish before I offshoot. So please
No,
continue.
yeah, sure. So I just have a couple more notes. You actually touched on this a little earlier, Austin, with talking about the worlds in Kingdom Hearts and the culture. I was actually going to talk about that too with Twilight Princess, is because the music helps emphasize the culture of the different people in Hyrule, and in this world, right? For example, I love how the music for the Gorons is very tribal, almost Polynesian in sound, right? Because that's
Yeah.
kind of the culture that the Gorons were derived from or took inspiration from, right?
Yeah.
Also, the Zoras, right? The Zoras. It's hard to kind of like how do you
Identify fish people.
exactly. Thank you, Austin. That was actually perfectly described. Yeah. How do you culturize, or how do you bring depth and background to fish people? And
From what I remember of Majora's Mask, they're very islander,
yes,
tropical vibes.
it is. That's precisely what it is. It's very tropical islander, very laid back, um, almost Polynesian, but not in the same way as the
Not
Gorons,
like
right?
Gorons, no.
Right.
We're talking like Caribbean almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And then also the Ordonians, the uh, not the Ordonians, the Well, yeah, the Ordonians,
Mm.
the people who live in the province of Ordana, right?
Mm.
They're very. It's almost rural. I don't want to say country because people automatically think of like American country, right? But it's like
The
it's very like salt of
quaint.
the earth. Yes, quaint, almost the same vibe as like the music in Hobbiton, right? In Lord of the Rings, right?
Dude, okay.
It's very,
I was about to
rural.
offshoot on that, how you were talking about Zelda originally, because you were talking
Yeah.
about how it's like so dramatic and yet so intense at the right moments. Devin, we
Mhm.
literally just got done watching Lord of the Rings on the big screen for our first time,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that matches your vibe completely. I know those are your favorite movies, and when you
Yeah.
started talking about that, I'm like, that's just Lord of the Rings, Devin.
I know, man. I know. Hey, you caught me red-handed. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, anything that has that kind of intensity yet just dramatic effect and significance. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be super big fan of that. But yeah, and then the last note I have is I like how, and this is another kind of specific note on like how, the people who have played Twilight Princess, they'll know what I'm talking about here. But the music that plays for the Twilight zones when you're in the zones that are
Do do
covered in
do do do
Twilight,
do do.
right?
Uh,
Not that Twilight zone, but you know what I'm talking about. The I love how the music almost seems it's like unworldly, right? It's like
the use
nothing you've
yeah.
ever heard about or heard before, right? So it really helps portray the foreign nature of the realm you're in, right? Because it's so you'll know what I'm talking about, Austin, once you play the game and you get into the Twilight for the first time. The music starts playing and it's just like it's so like it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like I think it's a cool sound. It's a really cool music. But it's so foreign to anything you've like really heard before, and you're like, oh my god, I am in a different dimension. You know,
Yeah.
and I love that. I loved how they were able to do that. So it's just such a cool and creative and unique soundtrack in general. So
Well, I mean, your pick it's your vibe, man. Like I've known you for a long time, and just it just suits you. That's all I can really say. You just have such a calmness to you, yet you are also so deep in your mindset and your thinking. It's just I really like that pick for you.
I appreciate that, buddy. I was getting ready to say I'm sure you probably had it dialed in before we even did this podcast because I'm always coming over and putting Zelda music, specifically Twilight Princess, on the
I mean,
TV
me
in the
too. So,
background. So I mean, it's a vibe, man. It's like we were talking about Minecraft music. It's a vibe. So
Joey, how are
uh,
we doing on time? What are we at?
Oh, we're at 38 minutes.
Okay, so
that's
we
not
Uh,
bad.
got a little bit more
I got a
time.
little more time. If y'all want me to talk about Sonic music, I can.
Right?
Uh,
I have
Well,
a quick note that
yeah.
I will touch on as quick as I can.
no, feel
Um,
free to take as much time as you want.
so Devin, I don't know what our note was earlier, but there was just something about how like when you hear the music in a game, it just feels right. Like games almost feel naked without their songs, and I think it just comes back to the tone that you're going for, right?
Mhm.
Zelda, like you said, it's a very especially Twilight Princess, it's a very artistic and deep, dramatic game.
Mhm.
But then there's like Disney Extreme Skate Adventure, where they just got the most grunge skater music they could,
Yeah.
and it matches. For some reason, I picked up this game when I was very young, and when I got into modding my PlayStation and definitely getting legal games for that, um, for some reason I gravitated towards getting Disney Extreme Skate Adventure, and I booted it up. And the music came on. I'm like, oh hell yeah, we're back in the 2000s, baby.
Big time.
And I know I showed you like a bit of that the soundtracks of that time, and it's
You
like
did.
it's like a time capsule, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh
Something
yeah.
about it is just so enigmatic about that game, and yet I heard it, I was instantly transported back to when I was, young, and I look at it, I'm like, this game would not feel the same without this music, and
Oh no.
it just matches, like we say, that culture of, just skating around with your friends. Obviously this is Disney, so like they can't get too what's the word I'm looking for, parental advisory, right?
Right. Sure.
But
Sure.
it still has that edge to it. So I think games have to really nail down just their tones that they're going for. It all depends on the art you're trying to purvey here, and not
Mhm.
necessarily all games are art. Like I wouldn't look at Disney Extreme Skate Adventure and say that's art. I'd say
Sure.
that was just fun, but
Yeah.
you need the music to elevate that, right?
Sure. Well, I think something that, as we've been talking about, why games have such significant music and why music plays such an integral role in the experience is because it gives the game, and here's the key word that I think we're missing here. It gives the game identity,
I love
right?
that. As soon as you started
Yes.
that sentence, I knew what that last word was going to be.
Yeah, identity, right? What makes this game unique? What makes this game special? What makes this game unlike that game over there, right?
As
And it's
soon as you hear
it's
the music,
identity.
you know it's that game.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's a fact where you could put on a video game music compilation and you sit there and you listen, right? And then every song that plays, you're immediately going, "Oh, that's, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Oh, that's Valheim. Oh, and you
Yeah.
just it gives acoustically the game identity. And I think that's awesome.
There's
So,
been so many times that I've like put on Nintendo 64 background music when I was like studying during master's school, and like it would come on and I'd instantly know what game it's from. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Donkey Kong 64, or oh yeah, that's Mario
Yeah.
64, or that's Star Fox. Like it just clicks. And I
mhm,
love that use of the word identity because that's exactly what it is.
mhm. Oh, for sure. Yep. But yeah, dude. So back, focusing on the skater. What remind me one more time? What was the title?
Disney Extreme Skate Adventure. Not to be
Disney
confused
Extreme
with
Skate
Disney Extreme
Adventure.
Skateboarding, because that's a whole different game apparently.
Ah,
Or no, I think
okay,
it's Disney
okay.
Sport Skateboarding or something. I don't know.
No, 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 for sure,
The
for
one with
sure.
Buzz Lightyear, that's what I'm talking about.
that's
Oh,
that's that's what they really should have named it. Is they should have done the Disney skateboarding or whatever, and then they should have made the other game that you're talking about, the skate game with Buzz Lightyear, like just
Literally.
and then patent that. Like, anyways, jokes aside, I think what you were touching on, and I agree with you there, is because even though I haven't played the game, you did show me the soundtrack, and first and foremost, that's a soundtrack full of bangers. First and
Dude,
foremost,
it's so true.
I loved it. That's my type of music in general. So I was like, damn. But the other thing that you were talking about was, you almost, it was a time capsule, right? You stepped into a time machine when you're playing that game. Because, yeah, that's one of the things that it makes me think of is when I was growing up and the music that was popular at that time, right? Is just that 2000s rock kind of
Rock,
sound, right?
pop, rap, all
Yeah.
somewhat mixed together. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's why I hesitate to call it a certain genre, is because it's got all of them. But it's like
Just a little
it's
spice
it,
of emo added to it.
yeah, right. But it's from the 2000s. It's hard to describe what that is, but it's that it's that 2000 sound. You just know. And so yeah, I agree with you.
And
I think
Joey,
that is
I would
cool.
say Sonic the Hedgehog falls in that category
Oh,
too.
it absolutely
Mhm.
does.
Just that sound of attitude. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That attitude, that not angst, but it's got that attitude. That's for sure. No, that's an excellent selection. Excellent selection. You got another game for us, Joey? Or
Oh, I could just talk about Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
well, let's hear it. Let's hear
Go
it.
for it, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to go on like that mix of like rock and rap and everything, two of the most iconic songs from Sonic Adventure 2 Battle fall into that rock and that rap uh, separately, but
Yeah.
you have, of course, the very first song you hear in a level. Uh, I forget the name of the song, but it's the one that goes rolling around at the,
Oh,
Yeah.
City
Yep.
Escape?
City Escape. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
That's it. That's the name of the level. Why didn't I remember that?
How did I know that and you didn't?
I just turn brain off when I play Sonic now. I just got to go fast. There's no time.
We're sharing brain
Oh,
cells currently, so if somebody forgets, the other one will remember. So.
Exactly. You know what'll help me remember? Another drink. Anyway, the
Not
other
another
one,
drink straight out of the bottle, man.
Ooh.
Not like that.
just like that.
Calling you out on recording.
What do you mean? It's Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. You know,
Yeah, Thursday, you got me there. Thursday's the new
Yeah.
party night, apparently. I didn't know that.
It is. It is.
Jeez,
Yeah.
strange. But yeah, one of the other most iconic songs from the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack. Kind of a meme, but also just a good song that really sets the tone for the character you play as in the level
Are you about to
and
say
the level itself.
Big the Cat?
No, I was about to say Pumpkin Hill.
Okay, good.
Oh, don't get me started on Big the Cat's theme though.
Oh boy.
That opening guitar riff. Oof.
Have we
It's
opened
just-
a can of
It's a
worms?
banger. Oof. Just every Sonic song is just. Can't think of a bad one because I've repressed all memory of them.
Dude, I love the Sonic Heroes theme.
Oof.
When I
Oh,
play
it's-
Smash and get a stage select, I'm going to Windy Hill Zone and picking Sonic Heroes.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is really good. Did Crush 40 make that?
I think so,
Sonic
but I'm
Heroes
not a Sonic
theme.
expert. They've done a lot of Sonic's games, though.
Yeah, Crush 40.
I think
There
they
you
did
go.
Sonic 06 too. Basically, from like
Mhm.
1999 onward, they've probably done it.
Yeah, they've done a lot. Crush 40 Sonic movie? Did they do anything for that?
I don't think they did the movie.
Hmm.
They're confirmed for the third movie
Oh,
Oh.
that's coming out. Yeah, they're
well, I
confirmed
mean,
to be working
that's gonna
on it.
have Shadow the Hedgehog. So I mean,
It's got Shadow the Hedgehog.
if we're going
yeah.
back to the roots here of Sonic Adventure 2, that makes sense.
Dang.
Oof. I'm excited for that.
It's all coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
We almost reunison, Joey.
Oh no. Oof.
Very good. Very good.
Second pick, Devin. What you got?
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to pull a classic Devon again, and I'm gonna have to go with the World of Warcraft
God damn
soundtrack.
it! We
Okay,
have our
so
fandoms on this podcast, and we are not going outside of them.
we are set in our ways.
We know what we like.
We're like old men gamers. We're just
Back in
We
my
are
our
day.
way. Back
We
in
are.
my
We're
day.
boomers.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You say that like it's a revelation. You're on a personal Overwatch team called the Shady Shoals.
All right. Well, hold on. Yeah.
Don't
that-
act like
that,
this is news.
No, you're right. You're right. You know what? I might as well just embrace it at this point. You know, in terms of gaming and cool culture and my relation with the, you know, how I'm able to understand the kids these days. Yeah, I'm just old. It's just is what it is.
It's all
But
good,
you know what?
man.
I'm embracing it. It's okay. I don't give a fuck. I'll
Talk
tell
about
people
WoW.
that I played WoW since it was, you know, in beta. I'll do it. 2004, by the way. I was
Shout out
6
to the
years
Shady
old.
Shoals.
Hey yo. Love you boys. Anyways. So where was I? Oh yes, WoW Classic. It all circles back to WoW Classic for me. Okay, so honestly, I'll just go ahead and say it. A lot of what I talked about with Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess translates perfectly into WoW Classic, right? Um, I think that one of the coolest things about the music in WoW Classic, and this is again what you talked about earlier, Austin, is every zone almost, or at least practically, has a different sound, and it's often one that fits with the environment or the biome of the zone you're in, right? So obviously, if you're in a place that is, almost arid, right, desert-like, sandy, right, you're gonna have very it's weird to say how a piece of music can sound dry, but it
Yeah.
does. Right?
It's
You know?
probably slow and quiet is what I would have to guess.
Yes. Yes, precisely.
If
Precisely.
you
For those of you who play WoW
Very
Classic, I'm thinking
very
of Tanaris, by
piano.
the way. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Um,
if you want a cold sound, you gotta hit those high notes for some reason.
Yeah.
yeah. True.
100%.
True. Yep. But yeah, I mean, all these different biomes and worlds, or zones rather, within the world of Azeroth has a unique sound to it. Um, One thing that comes to mind too is like the sound that plays in Duskwood, right? And if you recall, Austin, whenever we played Overwatch back in the day, and we were on
Fuck
Blizzard
that. I'm
World,
going to
and
Duskwood.
fuck that, I'm going to Duskwood because there's the ride of Dusk or ride to Duskwood, whatever it's called, and on that map. But yeah, I mean, you hear that music and you're like, oh, that's from Duskwood. You know what I mean? So
Right.
again, that's actually even more interesting that to add an additional layer onto everything. You know how I was talking about how music gives identity to the game, right? In this instance, the music gives identity to a zone within the game,
Right.
right? So that's even another layer that you peel back. Talking about onions and Shrek here, but you look at that and you're like, oh my god, this is this zone, not only because obviously it's the environment that I'm standing in, it's also because of the music that I'm hearing, right? And so that's just cool, you know. And that's the other thing too is it changes. Sometimes it's not the same sound in the zone. The music actually, for instance, right? For each major city in WoW Classic, each major city has their own soundtrack, right? So, if you're in, let's just say, Tearsful Glades, for example, right, for the Undead Zone, you're gonna have a specific soundtrack for when you're out in the world or out in the zone, right? But if you go into Undercity, which is the major city within that zone, it's gonna play an entirely different sound or a different piece of music rather, because you're in that city, right? And it's gonna have notes of uh, how do I put this? You're almost going to have flavors of that zone within the town song, which I think is really really cool because yeah, it's a different song, but it sounds very very similar to the zone that the town is in. So I think that's just another layer that you can peel back. Layer is my favorite word right now, by the way. Um, but it's cool because you're like, yeah, this is different, but it's the same, right? Again, it belongs. That's what I'm looking for. It
Going on
belongs.
Joey's example of like cold sound, uh, you talked about flavors, Devin. I feel like cold can have like two distinct flavors, and probably even further beyond that. There can be like a sharp cold, so like
Mhm.
icicles, again, sharp, and it's like
Right.
the music's very intense, but still like those high notes that are like screeching almost. But then it can be
Hmm.
like a soft cold,
Yep.
I can't remember if it was WoW or Twilight Princess you mentioned, but there's like an ice area that like
Yep.
it's a very quiet, soft cold, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Right.
So like I
Yeah.
totally get what you mean when you say like different flavors of that same sound per se.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. To think about it, because honestly, there's ice areas in both games, but I particularly think of the one in Twilight Princess because it describes what you're talking about. Like, yes, there's high notes in it based off of because it's just mostly like piano. That's the instrument primarily used for that zone, but it's almost like it's like you were saying, it's a soft cold.
It's
It's
like
almost
dead,
it, yeah. I
almost.
was gonna go for eerie, but dead too. Like it's almost like it's not scary or creepy, but it's eerie. It's
Yeah,
very soft, very there's a lot of silence integrated
low
in the
energy,
song.
because in
Yeah,
physics, when you talk about cold, you're talking about
slowing down.
yeah, you're lowering the entropy. The molecules are literally slowing down. So like, yeah,
Right.
I get what you
Yep.
mean.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, that's just something I really think is cool about that.
Well,
Well, we're nearing an hour. If we want to,
We are nearing an
uh,
hour. I guess
closing
this is
thoughts.
a good time to start some closing thoughts here. So
wrapping it up, man. I mean, I loved all the points we talked about today. I think you put it best, Devin, is just music just creates that identity, not just for the game, but the different worlds, zones, areas, whatever subdivision you want to get to. Even characters can have
mhm.
an identity with a song. There are literally songs in Kingdom Hearts that are named just as those characters, and it matches them perfectly. So like I think that's like the big root of it all, is just music creates that identity to so many different aspects of gaming, and we would not have the medium we have today without it. Like, find a
Oh,
game with no
agreed.
music and tell me that it's good.
100%, man, 100%.
I'm sure there are some out there, but
You're right, right. But I think, what we were talking about with the identity, one of the biggest, and I can't believe we haven't talked about this until just now, but the Mario theme song.
yeah,
Think about
Yeah.
how tremendously impactful that has been throughout history. I mean, think about how well recognized that theme song is. You know
absolutely.
what I
You
mean?
can almost ask anybody in the world, barring people that live under a rock, you know,
Right.
it ask anyone to sing a video game theme song and they will likely default to that. Like, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and again, it just goes back to the identity, right? You know that's Mario instantly. You're like, that's Mario. And the fact that it's in pretty much every Mario game, right?
Yeah,
It's just part of him. Mario cannot exist without that song. It's just an integral part of him and the Mario franchise. If it were to exist without the music, it just A would not be the same, and B, I would argue is to say it wouldn't get as much visibility as it would have if it was without that significant and that original of a sound piece for the game.
Joey,
Yeah.
any final remarks?
Oh, gotta go fast, huh? I don't know.
You
Yeah,
heard it
no, it's
here first.
the sound design is like for all forms of media very important, but it feels like video games, because you take an active role in that media. It has to be that much more finely tuned and just better.
Dude,
You
Hmm.
know?
props to the video game sound designers that had to create infinite loops in their music too. Think about
Yeah,
that for a second. How
Really.
music has to drone on and go over and over and over again, but then when you get to that one cutscene, it seamlessly transitions. Holy shit!
yeah.
Truly, truly. And,
There,
and props to the artists that are truly artists in the video game music realm, right?
No,
It's one thing to make a soundtrack for your video game, and it's another thing to create this epic piece of music that was meant for a video game but exceeded beyond that limitation, that confined space. It's its own entity almost, if I were to put it to words.
those are good words to put to it.
Well, thanks, man. I try really hard.
Yeah.
that philosophy degree is really paying off, man.
Dude, Oh, this philosophy brain is it's a blessing and a curse. Falling asleep at night's really difficult.
That's what antidepressants are for.
Oof.
That's true. That's true.
Tacos
Come
and
on.
sushi and antidepressants.
Antidepressants.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah. Huh?
All right. Well, my last remark to close things off is shout out "Bury the Light" from the Devil May Cry
Oh
series.
God!
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get to bury the light. That would have been Chance's pick if he were here. You know it.
Yeah, almost
Let's be real.
definitely. Yeah, let's be honest. We gotta
That
shout it
song
out because he wasn't here
slaps.
for it.
Yep, I've done my due diligence.
Chance's homework is to watch the full episode and then comment into the comment section what his pick is.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
And he better confirm that it's Devil May Cry.
Right, right.
So
We should have him comment when he starts the video. So then we can see if he got the answer right.
we need to give him
Organically.
a keyword to type as well.
True.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Anyways,
We'll see.
close us out, Devin. I'm sorry, I derailed us.
No. You're good. Well, thank you all for listening to the podcast. For those of you who did, we typically try to upload our episodes every Friday around noonish, sometime around that time. But we, again, appreciate you listening to us. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Austin, and you, Joey, about this topic. And I look forward, as usual, to many, many more podcast sessions.
You're here.
Here.
Love
You're
it.
here.
Podcast out.